Hi, this is Sammy again. Today, I'm going to go over graphing linear equations. So we're going to do 4 things here. We're going to graph straight lines or linear equations, straight lines, same thing. From the form y equals mx plus b, which is m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Also, I'm going to show you how to graph vertical lines and horizontal lines. And then the last thing, we're going to graph equations from standard form. So, and that is 3x minus 2y equals 12. I'll have a link towards the end of this video about how, or about the whole chapter of linear equations, going into perpendicular lines, parallel lines, finding the slope, all of that. I have that on a whole video right there, but this one is just going to be dealing with these 5 or 4 different things. All right, so we'll start with the y equals mx plus b. A lot of you students who've done this chapter, you know what m means and you know what b means. Here, m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept. So when we have an equation written in that form, so y equals m here is negative 2/3, and b, the y-intercept, is 4. So to be able to graph this, all you need to do, just let me make this picture a bit smaller and then, or the video a little bit smaller. So all you need to do with this, just go ahead and plot your y-intercept. Remember, a second. So this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. So my y-intercept is 4, so you go where the y equals 4 and you put a point there, and the slope is negative 2/3. So if it's negative 2/3, that means you go down 2/3 this way. You do that again, down 2/3, and you keep doing that as much as you want. Maybe have enough points to make a nice straight line. Also, you could go up 2, but just go to the left 3. So make sure your slope is negative, up 2/3, and now we have enough points. And after that, you just go ahead and plot your graph right here. Yeah, now just know if the slope is negative, your line always should be going down. If the slope is positive, your line should be moving up. So since the slope is negative here, my line as I go from left to right, it's going down. So make sure you remember that. Now we'll go to the next question. And before I do that, I'm just gonna write the equation for this line. So this was the line y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. Now, how about this line here? We have y equals 4x. You compare it to the y equals mx plus b. You say it doesn't look exactly the same. It's exactly the same if I say plus 0, because the y-intercept here is 0. That's why we don't write it. So the slope is 4. And I'm going to write over 1 because we know slope is rise over run. That's why we were going down 2/3. So rise 2, go left 3. Rise 2, go left 3. So that's rise and that's run. So slope is 4/1 and the y-intercept is 0. So you go to where y equals 0 right here, and then you start walking your slope. So that's from 0, you go up 4/1 this way, up 4 again, over 1 this way, and you make a point, or you just go down 4, but you go to the left 1 to make sure your line is rising since the slope is positive. Okay, down 4/1. And then just you make your straight line from this. You have enough points to draw a nice line for this equation. And then we'll just write the equation on top of this line. So you know this here is y equals 4x. Now we'll come to the the line, the equation x equals -5. So if they say graph the equation x equals -5, if you just think about it as x is always -5, that's how you know how the graph looks like. So x is always -5. Go to where x equals -5, which is right there. Now, if you want to graph a line where x is always -5, definitely you want to graph a vertical line. And I'll talk to you about it and tell you why. So now if you look at this line right here, as you move along this line, you'll notice that the y value keeps changing. You know, the y value is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, kind of, you know, the y keeps on changing. But the x value, as you walk along, the x value doesn't change. It's always -5. So if you're graphing an equation that's x equals -5 or x equals 1, then you just go where x is 1 and always it's a vertical line because x is always 1. How about if we want to graph y equals 4, which is, we call it a horizontal line. Y equals a number, it's always a horizontal line. X equals a number, it's always a vertical line. So y equals 4, you go to where y equals 4, which is right here. And then what you do is you just go ahead and graph a vertical line, a horizontal line through 4. So let me just go back here a bit and say this line here, and it's the green line, it's the x equals -5, as we said, because x goes through -5 here, and x is always -5 because when you go up, x doesn't change, it's always -5. And therefore, this line that says y equals 4, which is here, this is the line y equals 4, you see y is always 4. Like when you go along, x keeps on changing, you know, x is -7, -6, -5, -4, but that's not what we're interested in. We just want to make sure y is always 4. Is at this line, y equals 4. Is y always 4? Yes, as you go along, always the y value is 4. So if we make this line horizontal up here, then the y wouldn't be 4. It would have been 9, for instance. So y equals 4 just means a horizontal line where y is always 4. Now I left this here as the last question. And this question comes from the standard form. The standard form, we call it Ax plus by equals C. How do you graph 3x minus 2y equals 12? One way you could graph this by changing this equation, manipulating it and changing it to y equals mx plus b, and that would be long. Your best way to graph this is graphing it by finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept, which means you find out where this line is hitting the x-axis and where is it hitting the y-axis. So you plot 2 points somewhere, one is along the x-axis and one along the y-axis. So if you want to find the x-intercept, which is right on the x-axis, you see here right on the x-axis, y is always 0, isn't it? So x is 5 here, but y is 0. X is 6 here, but y is 0. So if you want to find the x-intercept where you hit the x-axis, just make y 0 and then solve for x. If you make y 0, 2 times 0 will give you 0. So that will be gone. So I tell my students, you know, if you want to graph this by finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept, when you're finding the x-intercept, all you need to do just kind of get rid of this and look at this equation as 3x equals 12. So if 3x equals 12, then definitely, you know, x has to be 4 because 3 times 4 is 12. So the x-intercept is 4. So you go here and you on the x-axis and you plot where x is 4, just put a point right there. And then the y-intercept, what you want to do to find the y-intercept, because on the y-axis here, if you walk along the y-axis, the y keeps on changing, but x is always 0. So to find the y-intercept, you go to this equation right here, and you say, if I want to find the y-intercept, what I want to do, since along the y-axis, x is always 0, I want to make x 0. So 3 times 0 will be 0. So that would be gone. So why don't we just cover this with our finger or whatever you want to cover it with, and look at it as negative 2y equals 12. When it's negative 2y equals 12, then you know for negative 2 times y will give you 12. So y must be negative 6, because negative 2 times negative 6 will give me 12. And then you go to the y-axis and plot a point at negative 6. And if you look at this now, if you want to know what's going on, to get from here to here, it's going up 6 and over 4. So if you want to find another point, just go up 6 and over 4 this way, and you have another point right there. And that way you could make the graph a little bit more accurate. So you come to this point right here and plot your line going through these points, and then just label this line as, let me get rid of this. This line is, sorry, I'm just gonna fix it a little bit here. There we go. So you just label this line as 3x minus 2y equals 12. There's one way of graphing this, is called the slope point form. I'll leave that for another time, or check out some of my previous videos. They will have the slope point form. You could learn how to do that as well. It's as easy as what I've shown you here. So I hope this helps you look at how we graph straight lines. It's pretty simple. And some students struggle with these right here when they see these here. Just think, when you get x equals negative 5, x is always negative 5, y equals 4 means y is always 4. Okay. And don't forget, if you like my videos, to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you could keep up of what I'm uploading on a weekly basis if you're interested. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye-bye.